Hello, everyone. I am so excited again to be here with all of you. Thank you for all the comments, all the love, all the things that you're sending me because it just makes me every day excited to be here at this time. And today I have our amazing coach, Tracy. She is our holistic NeuroGrowth success coach, and she's a principal and she's retiring at the end of the school year. And I wanted her to come today because today's topic is hot and it is also sometimes not talked as much, right, Tracy?
That's right. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it is scary sometimes to talk about it. And a lot of time when we talk about it, we think we're blaming or we're finding faults or we're just like not adapting to the new environment. This is our life. So many things. So I just so excited. But before we go anywhere, we do have to come here. Because I don't know how busy your week was, Coach Tracy. How was it?
It was very busy. I'm really, really glad it's Friday.
And isn't it March break?
It is indeed. We have a week off.
Awesome. So congratulations. There's another thing to celebrate. So how do we bring ourselves here and now? How do you do it, Coach
I
Tracy?
do it through breathing.
Yes.
Just to ground myself.
Do you have one that's favorite?
I like 4 counts in, hold for 4, and out for 8.
Perfect. Do you want to lead us?
Sure.
Awesome.
All right. So I like to do it 5 times because I find that the first 2 or 3 times I'm still thinking about laundry, what I'm making for dinner, and various other things I have to do. It takes me until about 4 or 5.
What do you mean? What do you mean you're here? Why are you thinking about your dinner and laundry? Who cares?
I'm thinking about all kinds of things. So it takes me about 3 or 4 rounds just to be present.
I know. And we have this breath all the time, but we take it so for granted, right? And we're just not even paying attention. So yes, 5 times is good. Let's do it.
All right. So in for 4, hold for 4, and out for 8.
Ooh, let go everything. It's Friday.
In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 8. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 8. Two more at your own pace.
And this time, let go everything. Any stress, any worry, any fear, anything, everything. Through your mouth. And let go everything. Do not keep anything. And for a lot of you, it's spring breaks, March break, 1 week, 2 weeks. Your kids are home. You're going to be home maybe. So let it go so you can start with the fresh breath, right?
That's right. Feels great.
Yes, I'm grounded. Now, another thing that we have to talk about is that you were just telling me that you were thinking about your laundry. I don't know why, but you were. Even though we're here now with me, you're still thinking about laundry. That's how you're obsessed with laundry. Right? And for dinner, and what am I going to do this next week because I don't have schoolwork, I'm home, right? All of these things, right? So sometimes we're future planning, and sometimes we're in the past dwelling on something that we should have done properly or could have done, or why didn't I do it that way? Why did I say this thing, right? All of these things. You do that? I do that.
All the time.
Yes. So unfortunately, when we're doing that in the past, we're just replaying and just stuck reading the same chapter, as some people say. So what is the point of that? Basically, at the end of the day, nothing, because all energy is wasted.
Mm-hmm.
We're wasting in past situations. We need to be here to create. We need to be here to learn. We need to be here to live. And we need to be here to lead our kids, our family, ourselves and our students if we're a teacher, right? But if we're not here, we're in the past always replaying and beating ourselves up about something that went wrong. I wish to say that I always think about good things, but there are a few times the good things come up, but most majority of the time, 99% of the time, it's the bad stuff because we're beating ourselves, right? So only thing we can take is the lessons. Just take the lessons and let go the rest of the stuff. And as much as possible, don't visit your past. Just try not to visit it. And you're going to ask me, how do I do that? That's voluntarily bringing yourself now and here, telling your brain, I'm not going to the past. Thank you very much. We already visited that 20 times today, so I think it's enough. Let's put that to rest. So let it go, take the lesson and come now. And some people like to think about the future, right? Tracy, what about your future? When you think about it, what are you excited? You're just letting it to be created, or you are creating it?
Right now, I'm very excited because I have new adventures coming, and so I'm thinking about that. But most of the time, I'm thinking about, what's going to happen, and projecting the past onto it to tell myself, well, I shouldn't do that because it didn't work the last time.
Yeah, always there's that. What if it happens again? What if they say that again? What if nobody likes it again? Like from the past, right? Again, we project those things to the future. And it's so important that we don't ruin our future. We already had our past. Why would we want to project that and say, oh, let's have it again? It's just like not even fair to wish that, right? So why don't we just let the future come to us? We should set good intention and just release it and bless it and release it. And, everything's gone. See, your hands are free. You can come here and now. And this is the place we can learn, we can live, and we can lead. And that's why you're here today, because you're going to be joining us on a conversation that we are going to have. So Tracy, this is very close to your heart and mine, right? About iPhones, about iPads, screens, right? Giving our kids too early before they're ready. So this is like when they're crying at 1 or 2 and we start putting the phone in front of their face because it stops them, because it's entertainment, right? So tell me, what's your take on this? What are you feeling?
I see it in the school system. So I see the results after, we've rewired the brain differently because of all the technology. And I think that as parents, all of us, me included, we all try to pacify our children with whatever's available to us in the moment. And, we did it with things like, the stuffed animals or particular games or toys or whatever we had available. The problem now is that a lot of children are only pacified by mom's cell phone or the tablet. And because their brains it's such a sensitive window for brain wiring at that really, really young age. The devices are not stuffed animals or toys or little, things that make noise like they used to be. They are devices that are really shaping the brains of our children differently.
Yeah. And the speed. There's a different speed to it, right, than normal life.
Most definitely. And it's really causing an issue where kids are not pacified by simple things. They can't tolerate boredom. They expect everything to be really, really fast all the time. And it's really difficult in schools because, they have to be able to sit and wait and persevere with a task and work in a group and be still and sometimes be bored.
Yes.
And when they're not able to tolerate that, it's very, very challenging in a classroom with 25 or 30 kids. And the teacher definitely does not move as fast or speak as fast as, the video games or the videos or the reels or whatever it is that the kids are watching. And so they just can't sit in a classroom like they used to.
Yes. And then, I want to actually help the parents who are listening to us, because it's a busy world. Parents are so busy. They're working a lot of time. Both parents have to work and sometimes kids are dropped off at 7 a.m., picked up at 6 p.m. because they just don't end their jobs, right? And then they come home. There's a little window between 6 and 8 or something. And then if you jam up some activities, then they're running around between scheduled activities. And then you come home, eat, and you go to bed, right? So it's kind of Monday to Friday is like go, 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 go. Saturday, Sunday is when I think most parents probably just have a time to take a deep breath. Okay, 1 week's over, right? So and then if you have few kids, different temperaments, different schedules, then it's a lot harder, and it is harder. But someone watching right now, they might say, you know what, the iPad really helps my son or daughter to calm down. So like, I'm so busy, I have to do that. Like, I can't always be like really actively listening or actively present because I have a busy life. It's true, right? They do. So how can we help them rethink that? Because whatever you like, what you just said, the dopamine hit, right? We're going to talk about that a little bit as well.
Yes.
Like when kids watch things that so early, they're consuming so early through these devices, they're losing the connection with human. And then also you said boredom.
Yep.
Right? We talked about the boredom. So how can we help the parents? Like, we want to show compassion to them, right? That's what we do in our coaching. We want to help the parents really solve this problem.
I think awareness is the first step. I think that none of us were aware, I certainly wasn't, of the impact that the technology would have. They're not just consuming it. It provides stimulation, but it doesn't provide developmental nourishment. And so we've come to realize over years what exactly the technology is doing to our kids. And I think the awareness is the first step, because we had television, of course, when our kids were young, but that's not the same thing as what they're consuming now. And so I think that there's a bit of people are not necessarily aware, I certainly was not, of the dangers that come with consuming such technology all the time. And I think that that's the first step, is just helping parents raise an awareness and understand what is happening in their child's brain when they're consuming this tech, these these reels and these TikToks and these doom scrolling and the YouTube and all of the other things, the video games and whatever else. And I think we need to get back to the way that children learn, which is through outdoor play, through human connection, through communication, through creativity, through conversation, all of those things, and go back to maybe some traditional toys that will occupy them while mom makes dinner and those sorts of things, and not always having a tablet readily available, because the kids will always choose it if it's available.
Yes. And but what about if they see us on the phone? Like,
we have to model, as hard as that is, to stay off the phone, because we suffer from the same affliction that the kids do. It's addictive, right? We want to see what's happening. We don't want to miss out on anything. We want to make sure that we're, caught up on emails, and did we miss something on Facebook and all of the other things. But I think that it takes a concerted effort to really try to minimize the time that we're on our devices in their presence.
Yes. So let's talk about dopamine, like the hit that these kids are getting it at the early age, right? It's not even, it's like the 2-year-old, 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. And then by the time they get to a school, 4.5, 5-year-old, they're not able to sit. And then a lot of time they're getting labeled as ADHD. It's like everyone has it almost. Like, that's what it's coming down to, right?
Yeah, it's a constant dopamine reward pathway. It's a constant drip. And so they get accustomed to constant novelty. Everything's new all the time. Mm. And it gives instant feedback and unpredictable rewards. And they start to seek this kind of stimulus everywhere all the time. And as we know, that's not the way school works. School, requires sustained attention. and it's not a constant dopamine drip. The teachers can't speak as quickly and move as quickly, and it's not as colorful, and there isn't instant feedback. And so when a child's brain is conditioned to seek that all the time and expect that, it makes it very hard for them to manage in a classroom. And it makes it really hard for the teacher to teach them.
Yes. And as you're talking, something just came to me. On these devices, we have control over how long I can stay and watch, and I can move, and I can go into something else I want. But in the classroom, I don't have that. So these kids also might feel they're not in control. That can irritate, right? If we're already addicted to that dopamine hit, and then I'm in a classroom where I feel I'm out of control. It's out of my control. And if I just had my device, then I can just scroll to the next, and then I don't have to listen to this crap that I need. I'm forced to
crave it. They crave the devices.
Yes.
And, you know, if we make them available as a tool for a particular part of the lesson, it's really hard to disconnect them from it.
Yes.
So when we try to take it away, some kids will become really dysregulated. There's screaming, there's crying. They have a disproportionate reaction to, you know, trying to remove the device from them. It's almost like trying to remove something that they're addicted to, that they have to have. And it's really, really challenging.
So if a parent is watching and they're like, I've already given it to them when they were 2, most parents do these days, right? And because, you know, everybody says this is our technology world, this is a technology, we're into even AI now, and in the future, the kids should know all of these devices, how to operate them, how to maneuver them. They are in the world that, I mean, how can you avoid it, is some people say, right? How can you protect them and avoid it? But, you know, so many people who created these platforms, if you dig deeper, they even said in even movie that was done by Netflix, they even said we don't let our kids go on these screens or devices or some platforms because we know that it involves very addictive psychology behind it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's like anything else. We restrict our children from many things that, you know, we try to provide in moderation. So we don't let them eat all the sugar that they want. We don't let them stay up as late as they want. So I think it's like anything else. We have to just restrict it to moderation, because they're not able to determine a moderate amount. And so that's what we as parents have to do, is limit their exposure to it as much as possible.
So let's talk about, if I already given my daughter or son and they're craving this dopamine hit and they're angry at me if I take it away. So now what do I do as a parent?
Well, what we do at school, which would work, you know, similarly at home, is we try to replace it with something else. We try to show them that other things can be enjoyable and fun. It doesn't have to involve a screen. We're going back to a lot of board games. Our whole entire school learned chess. And so we're running chess clubs at nutrition break. No screens involved, and the kids love it. They come down and play. We've been doing like craft clubs, trying to get them interested in other things that bring enjoyment, that don't involve technology.
Yeah. So somebody might say, should we completely take it out, or should we like wean them out? Like, how can I go at it, right? I mean, what's your take on that?
Personally, I wouldn't introduce it to a very young child to start with. And I would take it away if the child was certainly under 6 or 7. But I understand too, parents are busy and they do need something to occupy their kids. I would just try to find an alternative that they enjoy. And kids crave connections. So any time that you can make a connection with your child and play a board game or do a puzzle together, I think that's really helpful. Either that, or make, you know, if you want to give them a little bit of exposure to the technology, maybe it's something that you just do together for a short period of time. Maybe you watch something short together, or you play a short game together, and then it goes away. and then they have to choose from the other things that are available.
Absolutely. So I'm just thinking back to my son and our kids being young. So whenever I took him out for dinner or anywhere, I always had a coloring page in my handbag, and I also always have coloring pencils or crayons with me. So that's what he would do. And then as he started growing up a little older, we would always play hangman, like guess the sentence, right? Like guess the letters and put the hangman, and that was our thing. Like the minute we sit down, if I don't have paper, my son will take a napkin and start drawing. Can I have a pen? And start drawing and putting a word down to start guessing. What is it, mom? Tell me. So it became a thing. So a phone was never allowed during our dinner time, was never a thing until, even later on when he became a teenager. When he came to the dinner, it was not allowed. So I think kids love expectation. They love that groundingness, and they love rituals. They love if we set up some of these rituals with them. They love it. They come back and they start doing it. You even forget, right? He was doing it on napkin when he grew up.
Yeah. My daughter would do the same thing. And I remember I had this little bag that I would take anywhere we went, anytime we went to the restaurant. And it had little puzzles in it too. She loved those little metal puzzles that you try to pull apart.
Yes.
Anything like that. And there were some things that I kept only for when we went to the restaurant. So that brings in that novelty piece without it having to be tech-based. So, she knew that there were toys in that bag that she didn't see the rest of the time. And they would just come out when we were waiting for our dinner. And then they would go away when the dinner arrived at the restaurant table. And then we would eat and talk. And
yes. Yeah. So we could always untrain our children. There's nothing like we've already done it. We've done it the wrong way. There's nothing like that.
Oh,
we work with so many families who come to us in the worst situation possible, right? And we turn it around. And it's in the belief, right? We have to believe that it will happen, first of all, because no child is ever not like, okay, that's it, they're done. No. Children can be retrained. So if you're a parent watching, don't think that they've already learned to be on the device so much. Well, how can I change them? No, you can take it back. You have control to take everything back as a parent. You can lead them back in the right direction, but that means that you have to start implementing some of these are our rules, these are our guidelines, and this is how we're following, right? So somebody might be saying, I really like that my child is so used to the technology, they're doing really well with the technology, I think they should keep going.
I find it troubling if it's the only thing they ever gravitate to. So that worries me because, we want children to be, we want them to be interested in a wide variety of things. And some of those things need to be physical things that they do with their body and their hands. We want them to be interested in going outside and playing outside. We want to stimulate various parts of their brain. And if they're singularly focused on a video game or watching YouTube, they're really not activating the other parts of their brain or body that also need to be nourished and stimulated.
Yes. And we see so much anger, right? In classrooms right now, and even at home, some parents are sharing with us so many kids, younger and younger, like 3-year-old, 4-year-old, are extremely angry, and these angers are what they're displaying are really aggressive anger. Like they're frustrated. They can't express anymore, so they're just showing by even like sometimes it's physical, right? It's hitting and throwing or throwing themselves or hitting themselves or isolating themselves and screaming in their rooms, right? These are all happening. So we have to think that if your child is consuming, this is the thing. I always like do a ratio, right? In my head, I'm always doing a ratio. So today, if I was to think about my day, how many of those hours did I be online or on my phone? And how many hours was I out and doing things and moving and doing things away from the screen? If the ratio, all of you who are watching right now as well, you can do it think about your child's life and look at it, your child's day, and say, okay, how many hours is my child on the screen and how many hours of the day are they off of the screen?
Mm-hmm.
If that number is so high and then their behavior is showing up with a lot of anger, then we can associate them. Like, it's just easy to put together that this consumption here is causing some problems here.
Yeah.
So we have to relate that, right? Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
if they're not on the, and then they're still aggressive, then we have other things to look into why they're
Mm-hmm.
angry, right? So all we're asking is to start noticing what is happening in your child's life. Are they on the screen and they're angry and they're aggressive, or are they not on the screen and are angry and aggressive? Then we have to look at where are they, who are they spending time with, and what part of the life is being tortured, or something is getting done that they are angry, because anger doesn't just come from nowhere.
Yeah. And I've had lots of parents tell me, we've noticed an improvement at home because we've started to limit the screen time.
Yes.
And when he's had a little bit too much screen time, we see the behavior ramp up again. And a lot of parents will use it as a first then. So first you can do this, and then you can earn 10 minutes of iPad time. Or first you need to do your homework, and then you can do 10 minutes of iPad time. So even using it as more of a reward, as opposed to it's available all the time to you kind of situation, that will help too. If you've already introduced the device and they like it and they're drawn to it, then you can certainly use it and get them to do more homework, or get them to help around the house, or use it as something that is for a very short period of time that can be earned by doing other things.
Yes. But that could also sometimes backfire, right? And with some kids, if they don't know how to transition away from that, then there's a fight and there's a meltdown, right?
Yeah.
If you take it away after 10 minutes, they don't understand that 10 minutes gone. They're like, can I have 5 more? And can I have 5 more? And why won't you give me more, right? So that again shows that the consumption is too much, that they can't get away from whatever they're doing, right? So it's like that. Now I want to go back to, like, I always go back to when I was little and when my kids are little, because I love to see, like, what would I have done, right? So if we think about it, we didn't have access to a lot of things that kids have access to right now. Like,
No.
nobody, like, they had to go rent a video, VHS, was that called VHS?
Yes, we went to Blockbuster, rented a video. Yeah.
Yeah. And we would play in the middle of the living room, not
Yeah.
in your private bathroom or in your bedroom. So everybody knows what you're watching most of the time. You never had a privacy to watch whatever you want. But that is not the case right now.
No.
In these little screens, we can watch whatever we want. And guess what? People external to your house are not that nice. There are a lot of predators and a lot of people planting and offering a lot of things that are there streaming. Unfortunately, our internet's not monitored like we should be, right? So there's no restrictions. At least we had that restriction. We had to go to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster didn't always rent all types of videos. There was clean videos, right?
Yes, and you couldn't get out of the store with your parents with an inappropriate video without them knowing.
Yeah, and then you can't play it. You have to play in the living room.
Yes.
There's no way you're gonna, and nobody's coming through and chatting with you either on those screens. Nobody chatted with us.
No.
There has to be a stranger. When I went outside, my parents would be always careful. Don't talk to strangers. Some people say we do that. We tell our kids that, don't talk to strangers online.
Mm-hmm.
But online is different because it's so private.
And you don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah, they can appear like a 5-year-old, 10-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm. But you really don't know who's behind the screen.
No.
On the other side, and that's really frightening.
Yeah.
And so, we're letting people into our homes and giving them access to our children.
Yes.
Sometimes in their bedrooms.
Yes.
Right. And we wouldn't dream of letting somebody in off the street, a stranger, and letting them go upstairs to my child's bedroom. But yet we have devices in the bedroom where they can access strangers.
Yes.
And strangers can access them. It's very, very scary.
Yes.
And because we didn't grow up with all of this technology, I don't know about you. I can only speak for myself, but certainly as a parent, I wouldn't have the knowledge to be able to figure out all of the technology and how kids were getting into things and how I could block things. That would be a learning curve for me, for sure.
Yeah. And why would I even think my child would be? I mean, we don't think like that. Criminals, right? Criminals think the certain way to act as 5-year-old, to talk to 5-year-old on a phone or something. I don't. I'm not thinking that. I just think my child's playing a game, just
Yeah.
hitting something on my phone. It's just a game, but it's no longer just a game. There's a whole bunch of predators behind the game who are looking to prey on our young kids. So, and then it happens on YouTube as well. YouTube is also, there's a lot of comments and communications happening. So there's just a lot of things that are happening. It's just a lot for parents to monitor. That's the thing that I
Yes.
think is hard, is the monitoring. And then if you get so into it, then you become like a police. You don't also want to police your kids 24/7. What are you doing? What are you watching? Show me what it is. Show me your phone. You don't want to get into that. That's impossible to handle. And it also, the relationship just goes really bad, because if you become a police to your kid, there's no parent relationship anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work that way. They're going to look at you like, I hate you.
Yeah.
They're going to start hating you because you're in their face all the time. So how can we set that from the beginning? And or if we already let that happen, and if in your household, if it's happening right now where you have to monitor your kids like you're a police, like
Mm-hmm.
what can we offer them, Tracy? Like what can we tell them? Like, we don't want to police them. What is it? What is the next step?
Well, I think unfortunately we just have to know what they're doing when they're on their device. But the more time we can spend with them doing other things or showing an interest in some of the things that they do like to do. And there's ways to do that. I have a student right now who loves storm chasing videos. And so we use those, we do a little bit of work and then we watch a very short storm chasing video together, and then we turn it off. The tech goes away, but then we have a conversation about it.
You're engaging them. You're engaging them.
Yes. So we're integrating the tech because we can't get away from it completely in the classrooms. They do need to use it appropriately as a tool from time to time, but it does make a good incentive device every so often for short periods of time under supervision with connection to be able to, get them to do some other things that we need them to do.
Yes.
Work related. And I think at home I would use it if my child was that age again. I would use it in the same way. I would use it as something that we could either do together, or I would really try to take an interest in what they were doing on it. And then having those conversations about the social aspect of it, because we hear a lot at school about bullying that happens online with their friends. People are very brave behind a screen, and they'll say things to one another they would not say to someone's face. And so, bullying has always existed everywhere. But now the kids can't get away from it, because we would go home and we would have peace at home because it would stop. Our friends weren't in our house. Nobody was saying anything mean to us there. And so we would rest and we would recharge with our families and reconnect and have peace. And then we would go back to school the next day, and we were more resilient, I think, to deal with the conflicts that arose at school. Whereas now the kids can't get away from it because it follows them into social media or texting or whatever it is that they do in the evenings. And so they're constantly bombarded with things that, may be negative for them. Might be name calling, might be somebody being mean, might be relational things. I don't want to hang out with you. You're not invited to my birthday party. All of the things that kids struggle with.
Yes. We have a question here. What can parents do if their child is being bullied online? How can we help them with that?
Well, it depends on the nature of the bullying, for sure. If it is, name calling, normal kid stuff, then, you can talk to your child about being resilient, forget about it, ignore them, those types of things. But some of it is serious. Some of it is very damaging, and it crosses a line into, really hateful speech or
Body shaming or
body shaming. Yes, definitely. I would say to try to cut off those avenues so that those people don't have access to your child.
but first of all, how would a parent know they're being bullied? Because a lot of the time, that's what I mean. Like, it's become so private. Like, this is all happening in their private world. We give them a phone.
Yeah.
They're in their room. It's happening in under our roof, and my child's upstairs, upset, and then they come downstairs, and I look at them. They look upset. They're like, "You ask them." They're like, "Nothing, nothing," and you're like, you have to sit down, and if you have a relationship you can talk about it, but if you're already having a conflict or kind of a relationship where it's rough, they're not going to open up to you and say, yeah, my friend just told me that my nose doesn't look that great and I should get a surgery or something because it just doesn't suit your face or something. This is how mean people are, right?
Absolutely. I think it's so important to teach kids that the only behavior we really control is our own, and that we really have to work on building that resilience and making them either through affirmations or constant reinforcement and giving them strategies how to talk to their brain and how to manage their own feelings and their stress and all of those things. I think is really important at the same time that we're dealing with, maybe you're going to the school, maybe you're talking to the teachers. All of those things are important too when the situation involves serious bullying, but it can't be isolation.
Yeah, and a lot of time I hear when there are bad situations that happened after, like this with bullying online or at school or somewhere as well, there's a big shift in the child's behavior. Like they're just shut down, like major shift. And parents always talk about it after the fact. Like we noticed that there was a big shift in the way they were talking. They didn't come down. They stopped talking to us. They stopped doing this or that. And they were always isolating themselves. They started dressing differently. They would say it after something major has happened to their child through the bullying. But they don't pay attention at the time. They just think they're growing, or in the busyness we don't see it, right? So I think to answer part of that question is we don't really know when bullying is going to happen because it's happening privately, because we bought them a phone and we pay for it too sometimes, and it's happening through what we pay for to them. My kid is suffering because of the phone I gave a lot of time, right? So therefore I won't know. So watch the shift, how they're shifting. Like they used to be like this vibrant kid, started decreasing in so many different ways. They don't want to do the activities they used to do. Their grades are falling. They don't want to get up in the morning. They're not dressing up. All of these little changes, right?
Yeah, we call it a baseline shift at school. So we look for a shift in baseline. So if a child is always kind of an Eeyore, where they're always kind of low energy, a little bit negative, but they've always been like that, that's not necessarily a cause for concern. However, if a child is usually always excited and happy and all of a sudden they become more like Eeyore, that's a baseline shift. So that's something to watch for. If they no longer want to go and do the things that brought them joy before, we see that quite a bit. If they start dressing differently, or if they're more concerned about their appearance than they were before, that would be the time to maybe ask a few questions.
Yes. And some parents believe that after giving the phone, I heard from some people that I coached, that that the phone is their privacy. And I can't really go into their privacy. And I disagree on that, because the phone doesn't have any safety on it. It doesn't have, there's no safety. The whole wide world web is on this. I can't call it's their privacy. It's not, they're no longer private, they're public. Like basically my child's whole life and everything is publicly being displayed, can be displayed at any moment.
Yeah.
So it's not a privacy issue between a child. Privacy issue would be going to their room and start reading their journal or something, their diary or something, or going through their stuff or something like that, because there's nobody else. Like that's private, right? I'm going in and doing something in their room. That would be private in a way, but this is not private.
No, it's a safety issue. So we would talk to kids from a safety perspective. It's my job to keep you safe. And it's not about invading your privacy. It's about keeping you safe.
Yeah.
And you're not safe if I don't know what you're doing. I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know where you're going. I can't keep you safe that way.
Yes. We give the phone for safety, but then it becomes the opposite.
Yeah.
We always say I bought the phone so I know where you're at. Right?
Yes.
So you can call me, and you can text me. I can text you to make sure you're fine. That's how I got my son's phone into his hands, right? But
Yes.
in Finland, there are some videos they made to educate parents by bringing certain people to their door, and these people are people that are not good for our children, right? Some of them were porn stars, and some of them were men acting as younger boys and saying that I'm going to date this younger girl, but he shows up, but he's an older guy with the flower, and then knocks and said, I want to see Jennifer. And the mom's like, well, who are you? And she's like, yeah, we've been talking for a while, and I'm dating her or something. And this is a really old guy. So she doesn't know, right? She obviously thinks she's talking to a 16-year-old, but there's this 45-year-old guy out there. So they're making these videos to show parents how much your kids are doing things in your own under your own roof in their room, you don't even know. And these porn stars shows up, and same thing, they're like, we've been chatting and he's been watching us, so we just want to come and say hi to him.
Yeah.
Her 9-year-old son.
Yeah.
That was their message. It was, this is what's happening, parents wake up, right? So what we're saying is parenting is hard. Parenting it's busy. Your parents are busy. We're not saying anything about that, but we do have a very serious thing that's happening because there's no protection on this World Wide Web for any of our kids. And they are pretending. A lot of people are pretending. So we have to now take it seriously. And they are consuming stuff that are not appropriate for their developing minds. Otherwise, we could just give our kids a birth and just say, you know what, you can go figure out the whole world. We don't. We protect them for 18, 20 years because they're not developmentally fully developed yet. So we cannot assume that phone's going to be okay. And the whole world doesn't protect our kids. Us, we have to protect our kids, right? So it's our duty to do it. So there's another question. What age do you think it's appropriate to give a child a cell phone? My child always complains that their friends already have it. Of course, all the friends.
Yes, we hear that a lot. I think it depends on the child because different children mature at different ages, and I don't think there's a set age where you could give your child a device and they would manage it appropriately. I think as a parent, you will know when your child follows your instructions on a fairly consistent basis, if you can have a reasonable conversation with them about safety, if they've demonstrated responsibility in other ways, I think that's probably the time. The first phone I gave my daughter, she's 27 now, but the first phone I gave her was in grade 6, and it was shaped like an egg, and it had 4 buttons on it, each pre-programmed to a safe phone number, mine, her grandmother's, like that sort of thing. And she didn't get a cell phone that she could actually do anything with until she was in grade 9. So I think parents will know. I know that some kids can handle it at a younger age, and by younger I don't mean little. I mean maybe 12. But I think there's other kids that just they need longer, I think. But I understand the safety piece. I do. I understand wanting to know where your child is all the time. And so that's hard for parents.
But the whole thing is that safety that we provided is now also the unsafe place. Like it's like when we were little, my parents or our parents never let us go after certain time outside into the dark, right? But on the phone, basically you can go visit anywhere in the dark.
Yeah. What worries me most, I think, is that this is a generation of kids that will not know innocence. Because we were exposed to things developmentally as we grew up, right? We were exposed to scary things as we got a little bit older, but it was more controlled. Whereas now very young children can happen upon everything on the phone with a few clicks.
Yes.
So there isn't that developmental delaying of, scary or inappropriate or more mature topics, because they're readily available all together at whatever age you put the device in the child's hand. And
Yes.
so that to me is very, very troubling.
Yes. And also when it comes to going back to that online bullying and stuff, the more you get bullied, then you become almost numb to your feelings too, right? Like it happens so much. I mean, these feelings like the hearts and the thumbs up and all of these comments back and back. And, sometimes I used to watch my son when he was older, he on the Snapchats, like it was constant. I'm like, what are you doing? It was like, what's going on here? It was just like this, and they're just sending photos. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's speed of a light. It's happening for me.
And it's so important to them to get this thumbs up or, a smiley face or these emojis. And I guess the question is, why is that important? And
but we do too. Like look at adults. They're like, on all social media. They want the most followers, most comments, most likes, most impressions, everything. Like it's a human thing.
Yes.
To be liked and loved and be popular. It's a human need.
Yes. But when it's coming from a device for a child, it's removing that human connection.
Yeah.
And kids learn and develop through human connection. And that connection is being replaced in many cases by a device.
Yeah. And that stops them from coming to you for when they are going through a tough time, they can't come because the connection's lost.
Or worse, they go to like ChatGPT or something like that, and they start talking to a bot and asking advice. And, there's been many things in the news about that in the last little while, and we see how that ends up.
Yeah, I'm sure they trained it in certain ways. Like sometimes I put in like when I'm writing things or something, I put my suicide attempt, and then it would say inappropriate stuff. I'm glad it says that. Some of the stuff it says, this is content is sensitive. That's what it says. Its content is sensitive. So I'm glad it's saying, and then maybe when somebody talks things like that, maybe it won't give advice. This is pretty serious. You should call this number. I hope. I haven't tested it though. I hope so too, because it cannot turn into a counseling session, right? But it does do it for many people. People have, even people who are close to us, who are close to me, are not close enough anymore because they use ChatGPT for their problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it's really, really important as a parent to make sure that your child has safe adults that they feel comfortable talking to. And it may not be you, because sometimes kids don't want to worry their parents or, or feel judged. It might be grandma, or it might be an aunt or uncle, or it might be the child and youth worker at school, or it might be a teacher. But I know that at school, we always try to make sure that every child has a connection with a safe adult. It may not be their own teacher. It might be their teacher from last year, or it doesn't matter who it is, as long as there is somebody that they can go to and talk to.
Yes. So let's go back to how we look at everything versus how others are looking at this, right? Because we don't look at it from the perspective of many, many people, right? So one of the ways that we are different is we look at the biology, the soul print biology of a person, because whenever we don't look at this as a living system, we lose that this system is just reacting or this system is producing behavior. But what about the system? What is the systems are doing to that to output the certain things, right? So when we go to that, if we look at technology, like everybody says technology is our world now, we have to accept it. But if you think about our biology, it's not used to this stuff. Our genetics is not used to this stuff. This is the new stuff for us.
Yes. And I think that if we start to teach kids more about how their brain and body work and how their 12 body systems work, we can at least get them to be aware of how their body is reacting while they're using the technology. So if they're starting to feel anxious, if they're starting to feel a sense of dread, if it's causing a physiological response, and we have taught them how to notice that in their body, then they can start to make better choices and say, oh, I need to put this down right now. This is not serving me well right now.
Yes. And that's how we can get off of policing them, by really helping them understand themselves first. And then when they understand themselves and their systems that are running, because dopamine and all of these hormones, like those are the chemicals that run our whole systems. So we need to teach them about all of this so that they can understand, oh, when I'm doing this, this is why I feel like this. This is why I'm so happy. This is why I can't get out of the game, because the game or whatever is giving me this feeling and that feeling. And then when somebody takes that away, I get angry. I just want to do something to them because they're taking something that's making me feel good. Because they're kids, right? That's all they can comprehend up to that point, right? If somebody takes something I like, I'm going to get mad at you. And if you're going to still take it, I'm going to hit you. Because that's
sometimes they don't understand what those feelings are doing, right? They don't understand where they're coming from. They don't understand what to do when they feel like that. And if we can start teaching them that piece, that when you start to feel that way, here are some things you can do, and this is what it means.
Yes. And then the amount of time to give your child, also, like, at what age should I give the phone or any kind of device to my child, depends on the child and depend on why you're giving that. If you're giving it to keep them occupied while you get busy with something else, now we're disconnecting. As more and more time goes on like that, the disconnection can happen so many times. And then when it comes to real situations and what they're watching, we don't even know.
Yeah.
That's a total disconnect. But if you're giving them and you're with them, like you said, and you're giving them at times to as a reward, but a structured reward, not nagged and then I give, that's not structure, right? If they said, no, that's not structure. So if you got a structured intervals of that consumption, again, looking at the ratio, if they're consuming so much and then their behaviors, or that's what we call them, are starting to, a lot of it is surfacing, then we have to look at the consumption part. They're not consuming and there's still something happening, then look at who are they with, what are they doing, why is there this change? Because kids don't just change for no reason.
Yeah. And we can guide what they're doing. A lot of things that are wholesome are still fun. They don't have to have unfettered access to everything on the phone or the tablet. We could load up a math game or a spelling game or something that is also reinforcing an important skill. It doesn't always have to be, watching YouTube videos or, playing on Snapchat or Instagram or whatever else. There are other engaging, purposeful applications that we can introduce them to that will give them a bit of that dopamine drip, but in a more productive and safe way.
Yes. Yes. And you can train your child back if you have already done these things the other way. And you're starting to see. And then, the hardest thing and the saddest thing for me now, watching so many people come to us for help, is the ADHD piece, and how many parents are going, it's just so sad to see them losing these children and calling it ADHD. It could be ADHD. ADHD is attention deficit, right? Like, of course, a lot of the signs of this, technology can look like that as well. And of course, it could be ADHD, real ADHD, but it doesn't matter where it comes from. A lot of kids are getting labeled that.
Yes.
All of a sudden, right? And then now comes the medication. And then even, a few days ago, I was talking to a mom, they're on like second, third medication, trying it out. And there's so many side effects, including the child can't sleep. So if they are on medication, they're on these trials period, they go to school without sleep. Like, how can they be a student? How can they learn?
It's really, really challenging. And sometimes they come and they're very sleepy. Sometimes they come and agitated, they're like vibrating.
If I don't sleep, I'm not a good person to be around. Right? And also the medication is changing my composition, my chemical composition. My systems are off and I'm off. And people are telling me I should learn math. I'm like, no, I just want to flip the desk. Don't irritate me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the best advice I think that we can give parents is, you know, your child. And so if you feel that the medication is not serving them, then express that to the doctor and keep track of, you know, what you're observing in your child and any changes in their patterns and eating and sleeping and all of those things. That's a conversation that really needs to happen between you and the doctor.
Yeah. But the thing is, a lot of parents we talk to, they're saying, I don't know what else to do. I have to go to work. I have other kids in the household. The behavior is out of control. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, we really need to start teaching them about their system and figuring out what's going on with their nervous system and how to settle them in a different way without necessarily just medication as the only solution.
It's a quick one. It's happening in many families, and then the trial period, it seems like a messy state to figure out which dosage and which medication, which type of medication, right? And as they go through, and who knows what's that doing to their developing brain and their body as well. We don't know, right?
It's hard for parents to watch. It's hard.
Yeah, it's like
go through that.
Yeah, it's not. It's like the only thing you want as a parent to make your child have a best day, right, in their life, and then you see them suffering. So if that's happening to you, medication. Yeah, I never say. I mean, it's not my job or our job as coaches to say take them off the medication. That's the doctor's job, and we have taken people off of it. By our work, the doctor has recommended to take them off the medication, right? So it always happens as a byproduct of our coaching, but I think as parents, we need to start looking at again, like, how did we get to this point? What does the consumption look like? Look at all aspects of the child's life. What are they consuming? Who are they with? Who are they talking to? What are they eating? All of the aspects, right?
Yeah. How are they sleeping? For how long? Are there devices in the bedroom?
Yes. Yes. Are they still communicating? Am I still connecting with them? All of these things has to be looked. That's why holistically looking at something before going to the medication will so much help. But again, parents are busy. I know you are busy. I know you're busy. It's not easy. And the world is not easy to live in and parent at this time. It's hard. And some parents are young parents, we see, who are our clients as well. They are trying, but they also grew up with these devices themselves.
Yeah, it's hard. There's no question. And, you know, kids don't come with an instruction manual and they're all different. So it is a challenge. There's no question. But I think the missing piece in education is that piece where we teach kids how their brain works, how their body works, how these 12 systems are operating inside their body, and what to do when things are not working optimally. You know, when something goes wrong, they need to understand why they're feeling that way, what's happening in their body, and what they can do about it. Sometimes we'll describe it as, you know, right now they're passengers on a vehicle they can't control. And we want to teach them how to be the pilot so that they are in control of their body and their systems, and they can function and make better choices in those moments when they're feeling dysregulated.
Yes, absolutely. So this topic goes on because technology is not going anywhere, and parents' jobs are getting harder and harder. And we don't want to police them. Never get into the policing situation, because that doesn't go anywhere. That just cuts you off from their life, right? They just start hating you. So the answer is become very, very observe as much as possible the patterns of what's happening in your life and in your child's life. By those observation and awareness, you're going to notice a lot of patterns, and those patterns are where you're going to pick up what's really going on, and then there will be some answers for you. But it takes a lot of patience, and that's why we started this meeting with the coming here and now, because if you start beating yourself up as I'm a bad parent, I'm not doing a good job staying in the past. Look at my child now, he's on medication. If you start going that route, you're never here to parent them in this moment. And if you go into the future and think, you know what, I've already ruined my son or daughter, I don't know what their future is going to look like, I'm not doing a great job, their future is going to be ruined, all of these things, now you're in the future projecting all of the mistakes you've already created or something, and now you don't see you're wishing for the bad stuff to happen almost, which is not good either, right? Never ever, even though you don't want it, that's what you're projecting into your future. Like, this is what's going to happen. That fear just going to make it happen. So we need to come here and now, allow yourself to become as much presence with your kids, and from there start noticing and become aware of anything and everything that's possible. There is always clues. There's always clues. Kids are very good at giving us clues and signals, right? They're very good.
And they love to show you stuff. So just be curious. And if they're on Snapchat or Instagram and they're talking to people, you can say, how does that work? That looks really interesting. Can you show me?
Yes.
And then you'll have a better understanding, but they'll also start to open up a little bit about what they're doing, and you'll have certainly more information to work with.
Yes, absolutely. So there was a few other comments. The Hangman, I always played with my kids too. Yes, that's the best game ever. I think it's easy. You can even draw it on a napkin and go, right? And thank you. It's such an important topic for parents and educators in today's tech world. And tech world's not going anywhere, and the AI is not. And then if we thought predators were pretending to be young and they were humans, now we can have AIs as well to be trained and cloned, and so we have unlimited amount of predators can be created as well. So it's not going anywhere. This threat, it doesn't go anywhere, and parents just needs to be here and now. That's it. That's where it all lies, right? Here and now. And you know how to get there. Yeah, you know how to get there, because we start you off with breathing. I know it's simple. I know this, everybody says it's so simple. Can you just stop keeping a simple thing? Yes, it is simple, but it is the most powerful thing you can ever do, is to take deep breaths and tell yourself that you're not ruining your kid's future or their present day. You just have to take breath and say, you know what, I'm going to start noticing the patterns, and I will figure it out. And that confidence brings back the parent into flow. And that's what we're talking about here.
And reach out. You know, it's too much sometimes to do all by yourself. Reach out and find community with other people that can help you and work together. Yes. You don't have to be alone and trying to figure it out all by yourself.
No, don't be alone. That's why the whole world is available to us with the click of a button. We can join, right? And also, we're starting a Parenting in Flow workshop. It's free workshop for 4 weeks after the spring break. So if anybody wants to know more information about that, it's free for you. 4 weeks. We'll show you how to bring back yourself into that place I just talked about, being in flow, and also help you help your child in the right way, so that you don't have to parent with fear, because parenting with fear is the worst way to live life, right? So yeah, if you want that information, just DM me or DM Coach Tracy, and she has information as well. So thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you all of you for watching and giving the thumbs up, because it helps, and the questions makes it so much powerful as we go through this. So thank you. Enjoy your holidays.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everyone.